A particle is launched from a point A on a horizontal surface with a velocity of 22.4 meters per second at an angle theta above the horizontal, as shown in the diagram. After 2 seconds, the particle reaches the point C, where it is at its maximum height above the surface. Show that sine theta equals 0.875. Find the height of the point C above the horizontal surface. The particle returns to the surface at the point B. Find the distance between A and B. Find the length of time during which the height of the particle above the surface is greater than 5 meters. So that's the question then. Here it is in summary form here. We know that it goes up and it reaches its highest point here. So let's just put in h here to denote the highest point. And we know that the velocity vertically, we know the speed here is 0 because it's at its highest point when t is 2. So that brings to mind the equation v equals u plus at, doesn't it? Because that's the final and initial velocities, the acceleration and the time. The acceleration downwards is g. So applying this equation of motion then in the vertical direction gives, so the final velocity is 0 vertically. The initial velocity vertically is here, 22.4. The vertical component is cos of this angle, which is sine of this angle. So that's 22.4 sine theta. Plus a, the acceleration vertically upwards is minus g, and the time is 2, isn't it, when v is 0, because that's the highest point. So what does that imply then? 22.4 sine theta then is equal to, move this minus 2g over to be here, over the other side. Now I've written it down from right to left, and that tells us now what sine theta is. 2g over 22.4. Let's tap that in a calculator. 9.8 times 2 divided by 22.4. 7/8, which is equal to 0.875 when you tap out the decimal. So the sine of theta then, let's just put it in a triangle to help us remind us. The sine is opposite over the hypotenuse. This side here, this squared is 64, this is 49. The difference is 15, so by Pythag, that needs to be root 15, that side there. Okay, so there's our angle theta then, and we know sine theta is 7/8 or 0.875. Find the height at C. Okay, find the height at C now. So the height will need v squared, hopefully equals u squared, plus 2as. This equation of motion vertically gives, so the final velocity is 0, isn't it? So that's our v. The initial velocity vertically is 22.4 sine theta, but that's equal to 2g, so we can just write 2g here instead, can't we? Instead of, so that would be 2g squared plus 2as minus, a is minus g, so it's minus 2g times h. So that tells us what the height is then. It will be 2g squared is 4g squared, so I'm going to move this over, the equals, and 2g times 2g is 4g squared. So that h then, the highest point, h is equal to, 2g will cancel to leave 2g, which equals 19.8. 9.8 is 9.8 doubled is 9.6, isn't it? 19.6 meters. 9.8 times 2. So that's that height, and that's b. So we've done that. Find the distance AB. So C. So the distance x horizontally is equal to u cosine alpha times the time of flight t. So this formula then for the x distance gives, well, t is 2 when it's at its highest point, so that's we can use the symmetry of the flight, so this will be t equals 4. And so we know that x then, the range, is equal to AB, is equal to the 22.4 cosine theta. So this is theta. I'll put that in straight away here. Cosine theta, well, cos theta is root 15 over 8, isn't it? From our triangle. U cos theta times the time, which is 4. So this will go into this twice. This will be 11.2. 2 goes into that 11.2, root 15. So that tells us what x equals, the range then. 11.2 times root 15. The square root of 15. Decimal. 43.38 meters. And that's to 2 decimal places. So there's our range. Now part D then, we need to find out the height. Now the height of this when it's above 5 meters high. So it would be something, this duration here, say for example, and this would be height 5. So we need to find the time here. So when is the height above 5 in terms of the time? So if we use S equals UT plus half AT squared, use this formula then. Equation of motion there gives, so in the vertical direction the height is, so when is the height greater than 5? So this is the height here, UT. So the initial velocity, we're talking about in the vertical direction, so this would be 2g, because it's u sine theta, which we used before. If we look up, u sine theta, 22.4 sine theta is just 2g. So we can write 2g times the time. A is minus g, so it's minus g over 2 t squared. When is this height greater than or equal to 5? Okay, so that's times all the way through by 2, first of all. 4gt minus gt squared is greater than or equal to 10. So multiply through by 2. Now let's move things over. Move this over, and we get gt squared. Move this over, we get minus 4gt. There's already a 10 there. And I'm writing it down, this all here, I'm writing it down from right to left now, so this would be less than or equal to nothing left on the other side. So now this is the quadratic. When is this less than 0? Well, the roots, presumably it's a U-shaped curve because g is positive. So it's a U-shaped curve. We need to find this value, this length of time here when it's underneath the axes. This is the root 1, this is root 2. So we need that distance between the difference of the roots. So the solution for a quadratic is minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So if you look at that, you'll see that the root is this value plus or minus this part of the fraction here, the square root over 2a. So it's going to be this value plus this over 2a, or this value minus this over 2a. And when I say this value, I mean minus b over 2a. So we can see that the distance here corresponds to plus and minus would be 2 lots of that, so a 2 will cancel. So it's b squared minus 4ac all over a, because a 2 will cancel. So that's that distance there. Basic bookwork from quadratic properties. So we can use that thought, and it gives. So b squared minus 4g is 16g squared, this squared, minus 4 times a, g, times 10, square rooted, over a, which is g, which equals, we've got 16g squared minus 14g. So we've got square root of 16g squared minus, and that's 40g, isn't it? 40 times 9.8. So that's the square root. Come outside the square root and divide by 9.8. Equals decimal 3.45 to 2 dp. Seconds, and that's to 2 decimal places.